Welcome back, everyone. Today is the second episode of GS News, and we're back from a long pause. We waited for a whole month, I think.
Yeah, it was a
something
month.
like
Yeah,
that.
so we kind of promised to do one in Cyprus, but the offset was just too good to do anything work related.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so sorry about that, but well, I think you will be able to see some videos from Cyprus. We will have some content, so just stay tuned. And today we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the news that we found about JavaScript. Just a quick recap of our news that we're gonna be covering. Uh, we have a couple of new versions: TypeScript, Node.js, Next.js. Then I think Karolis will have something about Remix.
Yeah, there's some news regarding Remix as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting. And I see that Timas is gonna cover a little bit about Angular.
Yeah, the new Node.js version.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Uh,
And we have some articles too and some random fun things. Yeah.
yeah, as always. So, okay, I think maybe we can start, and then people will just catch up, right?
Yeah, I think so. They will catch up with what we're saying and talking about.
Okay. So the first thing, uh, TypeScript 4.5. It's right now in beta, and it has a couple of pretty exciting new things. I think that the main feature of TypeScript is of TypeScript 4.5 is ESM modules. So uh, right now they will work with TypeScript 4.5 in Node.js, and we know that Node.js has been trying to incorporate ESM modules for quite some time, and it's really cool that they will now work in TypeScript. I think we will be able to see some yeah, just some new model management, but that's not the most exciting thing for me, at least, because well, module management, who
So
cares about
exciting. Modules can be managed.
that? Yeah, but I think there are a couple of really interesting things. For example, I think there is a new type uh, that is called awaited. I just I just can't find it.
Yeah, there is an awaited and promise improvements as well.
Yeah, so basically we will see a couple new types in TypeScript. We will be able to type our promises.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like self-explanatory. You'll basically be able to type not only like we used to write functions and then the arrow function and then a promise word. Now you'll just be able to type the entire function or variable using that it has been awaited,
Mhm.
and that way I think it will like reduce a lot of bugs that happen in production, since it, people usually just get your interface and don't realize that that value is actually awaited and
Mm.
it needs to be used that way, and that's how many bugs happen. So regarding this improvement, I think it will work quite well in our daily lives.
Yeah, that's right. Also, one very well interesting thing how it works. Actually, I'm not sure if we're gonna be using it, but it's really cool. Template string types. So basically, if you have a template string that accepts some kind of a variable in between, you can actually type that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, we can see the example here, HTTP success. So we can type anything that ends with success, and it's gonna be like statically typed with TypeScript. Uh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it will be good for like icon types, I
Mm,
would say,
yeah, that's a good
since
idea.
you can just add the icon word at the end, and then instead of string, maybe put on like enumeration value inside that.
Hmm.
So that way there will be a difference between the type regarding the enumerator. So yeah, that's something I look forward to as well, since it will make life a bit easier while making those huge maps of icons in projects.
Yeah, I think so. And as it shows, maybe for some kind of messages, but
Yeah, I'm not so sure about messages. I mean, how many times have you used like a template string for messages?
well, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly,
because
because it's a message.
yeah, you also need to like support internationalization, or
Yeah, and things
how
like
the
that.
hell it's called.
Well, I guess like the only reason you would use this is, for example, if you have a project that has logs,
Mm-hmm.
and logs usually have different types, and you
Yeah.
want to internationalize them in different locales, and you can now type those, which is nice, so that once you get that type from backend, you can actually check the string that is gotten according to the type using TypeScript,
Mm-hmm.
and that way you'll be able to build these templates with no issues basically. So that's something we should take a look at, because it should make life easier for making the logs, and instead of making those huge maps of strings, it should just allow us to do that much easier.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, right? Uh, yeah. What else? We have some improvements in load time. We have oh wow, snippet completions for JSX attributes. What is that? I haven't.
I like how you got excited because you didn't read through the entire document at the beginning. So now you're like, oh wow, snippet completions.
Yeah, I mean it's such a huge like sheet of changes. I'm really not sure. I mean, TypeScript. It's TypeScript.
Yeah.
How exciting can it be?
Well, it's a language that we use daily, so I guess it is exciting. I'm
Yeah.
actually waiting for TypeScript to just remove the any type completely, so that we won't have to
Yeah.
review any code with any types anymore and say remove this and make it typed.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I think it's enough about this one. Uh, wow, I really forgot how to do this. Cool. So next up on our list is well, that's properly exciting. Remix, and
Yeah.
I give the mic to you, Karolis.
Well, what was the issue with Remix when we reviewed it last time?
Well, it was not a huge issue, but I was ranting a lot about how it's like so expensive and I can't really use it for free on my daily projects, and it's so closed source.
Yeah, well, I think Remix actually heard you that time because, like, a bit of time later, they got funding from like a bunch of different companies and that want to support this framework and want to actually make it successful.
Mm-hmm.
And now Remix version 1 will be open source for absolutely everyone, and everyone will be able to use it, and they'll be able to maintain it without any pricing plans or anything else. So it's basically React, Next, or anything. It's now on the same level as those. The only thing that's left is to actually, after the release, check how it works in the real world applications. Since we're still not sure about that, since it's haven't been released yet. But just knowing the fact that it's now going to be free,
Mhm.
that we're now going to be able to use it in our free time and actually test how it compares to those different frameworks that we use daily, is actually one of the best things, I think.
Yeah, what comes to my mind is like, didn't they have a paid plan for the beta?
No, I think you were able to sign up for the beta,
Uh-huh.
but I don't. But you'll have to wait. You had to wait for their confirmation in order to get access.
Mm.
I don't think it was paid, since they were only testing, and beta was given to those that actually reported bugs in GitHub.
Ah, so something like can't see dots.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. So that's super exciting because I really wanted to try Remix on my own projects, and it seems I'll be able to do so.
Yeah, finally you'll be able to do so.
Speaking of great frameworks and stuff that works perfectly with React, we have Next.js 12. So it has actually been released, I think, 3 days ago it says, but it's like more 2.5 days ago. So basically, we get a lot of new improvements in Next, and it's really a shame that we don't talk about Next enough.
Yeah, I agree. I think people should talk about server-side rendering in general more, because like it's a huge performance upgrade from the client.
Mhm.
And you're also able to get faster load times and no data lagging, and you won't have to wait for the JS to load at all times. You can actually show some content on the page for the user so he's not confused. And that makes the websites look like they load lightning fast, but in the background it does the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's something people should take a look at in general.
Yeah. So Next 12 has a lot of improvements, and the first is faster build times. So apparently they have actually created a new compiler for that. It's based on Rust, and I mean, from what they're seeing right here, it seems that it works really, really fast. Uh, Carlos, I think you have tried Next a little bit, like yesterday.
Yeah, I did try Next yesterday, and I as well worked on a different project with Next in the past. Well, the load times are much faster than React. I'm gonna tell you that much.
Mhm.
Like for React, I had to wait for the installs, for the compilation for a long, long time. Now with Next, I do everything instantly. Like in a project, we spend a lot of our time waiting for the compilation to go through most of the time. Next just removes that completely. You wait a couple of seconds and it's built. Like I ran npm run dev. In React, you would have to wait to check if while it compiles the code, while it runs and starts the development environment. And next, you just write the command, and 1 second you have the server.
Mhm.
Does it check the TypeScript errors?
Yes, you're able to add TypeScript into Next.js as well. So-
But the Rust compiler can check.
If the Rust compiler can check TypeScript errors, I'm not sure, but it should, since it's based off other compilers and just improved in performance-wise.
Mhm.
So that's something, and I saw this a lot. Like a lot of these huge frameworks are looking into how they can integrate with Rust, since it seems like a compiler of the future, I would say.
Mhm.
But it's still they still have a long way to go in order to do that, and so it's good to see that Next was one of the first ones to do so.
Mhm. Cool. That's amazing. So next up on Next, so we have a couple new features. Something like middleware. So basically, you can, I mean, you can actually integrate the asynchronous logic inside of, well, basically, uh, request being made. I'm not really sure how it will look in the real world, but it seems that right now in the new Next version, you can actually add those. Also, they have added some support for React 18. We know that we will have full suspense and React Lazy and stuff like that. But the most interesting thing, well, at least for me, from this new React 18 support,
Yeah.
is actually the wait, how do they call this? Um, yeah, so basically React Server components.
Okay.
This one. So what they promise with the new like React 18 and with this new next version is that you will be able to actually server-side render components with hooks that contain asynchronous logic, and you will not need those like functions that you export. Get server-side props, get static props, these things. So you will be able to just write absolutely plain React with absolutely plain hooks,
Okay.
and it will just server-side rendering everything.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool because you don't need to learn an overhead of like this next functions that you need to use in order to work for
Yeah.
server side. It will work like everything should work out of the box.
Yeah, that sounds good actually. Maybe we can actually transfer some projects. Like if we have like small projects and this actually comes out, since it's still in experimental, so
Mhm.
we're still waiting on it. Let's not use it in the beta.
Mhm.
But if this comes out, maybe we can like start transferring projects to just server-side render them without adding additional. And also like React developers won't be a huge learning curve as well, since
Yeah.
they can just copy paste their components inside. Next already does that, but not with these server-side rendering attributes.
Yeah, exactly. So in Next 12, it's already there. It's already in the release, but you have to use React 18. Yeah, so it's still a bit long way to go, but I think it's really exciting to see how they're already supporting the latest technologies.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Since Next seems to like improve a lot over time in general, and they seem to have a very good dev team that works on these things.
Yeah,
So I'm really looking forward to what they come up with next.
yeah, amazing. And I think you will have a little example of the latest Next.
Yeah, I have
Later on?
worked with it, but I just did a basic setup because I was rushing to check the actual thing that I was testing.
Yeah, okay. But more on that later a bit. Now, Timas.
So yeah, the next topic is the new release of the Node.js. It's the 17 release, and the 16 version goes to the long-term
Mhm.
support. So notable changes are OpenSSL 3 support. The next one is the JavaScript V8 engine is updated to 9.5,
Okay.
and it supports additional types for datetime format.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really like that Node.js is gradually updating their core APIs and making them promises. For
Oh,
example, readline was API with callbacks, and now in this release they introduced a promise for it, so you can just await a question answer.
I thought it was already promisified.
Yeah, I think I thought so too. Like
Yeah,
I didn't know it wasn't a promise before.
Yeah, actually, with those default node uh, process, uh, I don't know how you call APIs.
Mhm.
It's really weird to actually use callbacks in this day and age.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good that they're finally catching up
I
with.
think I did something like that, but I used the library for
Mhm.
that, and it was with promises. So I thought, wait, was
Mhm.
it a promise already?
Yeah, yeah. So, do you have any breaking changes here? Like, can we just go out and use Node 17 without any problems right now?
Yeah,
I don't see any breaking
yeah.
changes in Node 17.
Uh huh.
Like I went through the commit list real quick, like yesterday,
Mhm.
and it seemed like they're good to go. They're basically just improvements into the new version.
Mhm. Okay. And we can see that the LTS versions right now is 16. So, anyone who's still using 12, please upgrade.
Please upgrade. Yeah, don't use 12.
Yeah. I have just like very recently seen why is it not working on my project, and it's not 12. So I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, you can't really say a lot about that.
Yeah. Okay.
What's up next?
What's next? Angular 13.
So yeah, it came in the on Thursday. I think Angular will release the new version.
Yeah. So it's not yet released, but they have been teasing it for the past month.
Yeah, and yeah, there are some bugs fixed and some features improved.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they added a build cache by default capability that improved their builds. They fixed some URL serializer bug that was strange for me. Why it was a bug for that long time?
So
Yeah,
they needed the next major version to fix a bug.
yeah,
Yeah, I
they
mean,
had Angular
this is
15.
they dropped some params, URL params.
Uh huh.
It was a bug, and wow.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and the Internet Explorer version support is being removed.
Okay,
That's great. Yeah,
but does it have anything like new, anything exciting?
I'm not sure actually. I haven't been in an Angular world, in the new Angular world for a while.
Yeah, well, I think that like Angular releases are less major. I mean,
Yeah, it's like it's very gradual and
mhm,
just improving things that they already have.
mhm. I also see that they're like right now supporting the RxJS v7. Uh,
Yeah.
I used to code Angular a long time ago, and back then I really liked it. Uh, it's interesting how it changed, but I'm not really sure. Is Angular still that popular? Because I think that there are.
Maybe we should talk about the elephant in the room.
yeah,
Since
Yeah, it's
GitHub
getting.
did a study, didn't it?
yeah, it did. So I wanted to actually wait for it, but I'm just gonna open it right now.
Since we right now are talking about Angular, like, okay, they released a new version, but what's the reality of Angular at the moment in the
Yeah.
developer world?
So basically, Stack Overflow did a poll. They tried to see what frameworks and what tools developers love the most, and the first is actually Svelte, and I really see how it can be there because it's really exciting. It's super promising. Uh, Not a lot of people still use it, but it's really cool.
Yeah, but we also remember, let's keep in mind that Svelte is still like quite new.
Mhm.
Like I remember when Vue.js came out, and everything, and everyone was like, "Let's drop Angular. React is nothing. Vue is
Yeah,
for the win," and everyone just kept voting on Vue
Mhm.
because it was new. I think this. I just hope the same fate doesn't happen with Svelte, where everyone loves it, developers love it, but no one wants a job with it. So
Yeah. So, and we can see about Angular. So it's not that bad. I mean, Angular JS, of course,
yeah.
it's the most dreaded thing ever. It's worse than jQuery actually.
people like jQuery more than Angular. Yes.
Angular JS, yeah. But Angular itself, it's like half and half maybe. So, uh, React performs better than it, and so does Vue. And basically, I don't
But
think that.
it's not. It's backend frameworks too in this chart.
Yeah, it's just basically all kind of tools that
Yeah.
developers use.
Yeah, as well. But like our main thing is to keep in mind that how these frameworks. Oh, I see that Flutter is up there. I'm very happy about that
Uh
since that's a new framework and it. I really hope the Dart language catches up
huh.
and people start using it more since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. And also the same thing has been in the state of JS. I mean, it's not it's not news. It's already really old. But as we can see in the results, Angular does not have the same kind of popularity that other technologies have. I
Well, I
mean,
mean, it used to. When I started developing, Angular was like number one.
y-
Everyone wanted Angular. Everyone wanted to use it and learn how to use it.
yeah, but we can see that from the past year, almost all of the front end frameworks actually overtake it
Yeah.
based on popularity. So yeah, so that that's our news. So Angular has a new version and it's
I know that
new.
.NET developers like to work with Angular.
Do they?
Yeah, some of them at least, because the structure is familiar with .NET. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, but you can like take any other framework and make that same structure. For example, React, you can split it up into the
Yeah, but
same
again,
layers and
in
modules.
.NET they always have the dependency injection. They like the whole concept of Angular.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So it's the
yeah,
concept that keeps it going.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And the Angular, I think, was TypeScript was written by .NET guys, and TypeScript was working with Angular, so
Yeah, TypeScript
there is
is
some
backed by Microsoft.
connection with .NET. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, but
Well,
right now everyone uses
yeah,
TypeScript, so
yeah.
it's not just Angular.
that's very true.
Okay, what's next? We have a really cool thing. Karolis, you want to share about it?
Yeah, sure. Yesterday I was just messing around with some GraphQL queries, and I thought like maybe there would be an easier way to do it since we always need to wait for backend, and backend gives us REST API endpoints that we actually have to remake into GraphQL endpoints, and then we can actually use it in our project. And that was like a big overhead, and I thought like if I'm making my own project, writing the entire backend and the GraphQL side, it like will take a long time. There's no point to that. And while looking around, I found something called GraphCMS. Basically, what it is a headless CMS in which you can develop your own schemas using the UI. You can make relations, you can make assets, you can make whatever you want. It can be a CRUD as well. So that's something we really should take a look at. And actually, yesterday I did a small project with it just to test how the GraphQL queries work. So, Edmundas, if I could share my screen right now.
Yeah, of course. You know how to do it.
Yeah, it's fine. I know. Let me share the GraphCMS side of things. So basically, once you get inside GraphCMS,
Oh wait, I have to add you to the stream.
okay,
Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, so basically, once you get into the actual CMS, you make the project, and it has this quick start guide. You can navigate to the documentation as well and everything, and then you go to schemas instantly. Here, I have made a model, which is a podcast, in which you need to enter episode, title, thumbnail, description, and the source of the video, for example. Now, if I wanted other fields in this like model, I simply drag and drop a slug, for example, and like set a name of it, like whatever I want. I can set the validations. I can set advanced settings to make it only read only, to make it hidden, to make it API only, and I hit create. And what it does, it just adds the field below here, and that's it. You have that field in your model. There's nothing else to do. You just made your schema.
So you can just go on and use it in your front end.
Yep, that's it.
What does the show system field show?
Show system fields is basically the ID created at, created by,
Oh, wow.
updated at. It's all the metadata that you get by default. It generates all the unique IDs by itself. You don't have to handle or think about that. You can just work on your project, think about what data you will need in it, and just make those schemas. As well, you can use those endpoints to make whatever you want. And now if we move to content, you'll see that that model actually appears here now, and you can add all the different content. If I hit create new item here, I can add an episode, write any title I want here, description, source is required now. So let's type in Google, for example, and just hit save and publish. And that's it. And you can actually leave these for review, just simply save it and leave it. But now it will appear in our list here. And if I want to edit them, I'm able to do that. If I want to do whatever I want, I'm able to do that through the CMS. Next, we have assets, where you basically just upload the files that you want. It handles all the assets by itself, which is very nice actually, since you don't have to you can get the whole URLs and everything. And this is where I was most surprised. Like I thought, okay, now I have the CMS. I check the docs, I see that there is an endpoint, and I thought, okay, this is just the same thing all over again. I'll have to migrate that endpoint, get all the different endpoints, migrate my own GraphQL server, and everything else. But then I went inside the playground and I just typed in get podcast with ID, title, description, and thumbnail. And I thought, what if this just works on itself? And it actually did. And it returned all the podcasts by itself. And I was like, oh, okay, we can move forward with this. So I made this Next.js application. Let me share the Next.js application 1 second.
So basically, this API you created is right now production ready, just like that.
Yes, that's it. I have a production ready API ready in I don't know, I spent 5 minutes on it.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I made this Next.js package where I just downloaded the Apollo client. I set up all the different variables. Of course, I used env variables here, so my data and IDs doesn't get leaked. for some reason. So yeah, I just copy and pasted code from StackOverflow basically to set up the Apollo client as quickly as I could.
Uh-huh.
I authenticated the client, and that's it. This is my client. You set the provider,
Mhm.
and you're good to go.
Nice.
And in the queries, I wrote that same query
Mhm.
that we used. And inside the index file, I just simply use a use lazy query hook for the loading and data, and fetched all the podcasts on a use effect hook.
Mhm. Yeah.
So-
So that's the beauty of GraphQL. You can just actually write what you need and all the caching, everything like
Yeah,
it's in the
exactly. But I
background.
got the entire API ready instantly. Did I change something? I don't think I did. Oh damn! I crashed it.
It always
Nice.
happens when you try to
Yeah.
demo something.
Yeah.
I see it. I saw today. I looked a bit about in the docs, and I saw it has in the free version. I think 2 environments,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
you can have a testing server too,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and it supports localization too. Out of the box.
Nice.
Okay,
But
let's
yeah,
just block out
for the free version,
error.
only 2 locals too.
Uh-huh. Okay. Um, I will have a couple of questions, but first, Karolis,
Let's see if it runs. Let's see.
let's see what you did.
Okay, here we go. It now works. So this didn't have a thumbnail URL, so it just shows the alt text.
Mhm.
But basically, all these cards are what I added in the GraphCMS, and that's it. That's all I had to do. So basically, the backend setup took me like 5 minutes, and then I could work on the Next.js side, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
simply work.
So, where's the catch?
There's no catch.
What's the pricing then?
It's free. You get a million. It's you don't have to host it.
Uh-huh.
It's free. You get 100 gigabytes a month, I think, of just asset storage, and as well you get 1 million API calls a month for the
Okay.
free plan.
As I understand, it's like more for content websites.
Yes, it's more for
Yeah,
content websites, but
it's CMS.
but that's the thing. You can actually use it as, for example, if you look into the basic example of WordPress, right?
Mhm.
What WordPress does is it simply, let me stop the sharing actually. What WordPress does here is it simply takes that content, but you can add whatever you want above it. You can make it a CRUD application, you can make it a full-on server, you can make it a headless CMS.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. You
Yeah.
can like pull data from other APIs into GraphCMS, and it will automatically, using those remote fields, build you that data in GraphQL.
Mhm.
So it basically removes that overhead of you needing to rewrite that code twice, and you're just able to get that CMS a full experience, whatever you want. You can add new fields, you can add new content, you can delete it, you can edit it, you can do whatever you want with it,
And it's
Just-
GraphQL.
and it's all in GraphQL.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I'm not sure, like for personal projects.
Yeah, for personal, it's gonna be perfect. I mean, if you just want to create your own blog or you
Whatever,
want,
yeah.
I know.
It's just not worth it to get even the paid plan. For the you get the paid plan if you like have, I don't know, a bigger project that you want to
Yeah.
commercialize.
It has content entries and content models limitations.
Yeah, of course, but I don't see like
But it's pretty big, yeah.
how can a personal project use more than 5,000 entries? Like this project should have been going for like a long time at that point.
Yeah,
Then,
Yeah.
and if it's been going for a long time, then you're probably generating some revenue with
Yeah.
it, so it will pay itself up.
That's true. And can you like
Yep.
have user accounts?
Yes, you can have authentication, you can
Shit.
have wallet commerce, you can have payments.
And that's in the free version.
That's in the free version.
Yeah.
Like,
That's amazing. I mean, if you have a very small business or something, you don't need backend developers
you
anymore.
don't need backend developers now.
But
You
I
can
think
just use
for
this.
e-commerce, the free version is not enough
This has
because-
integrations with Shopify.
because you will get the content entries of the orders of the if you have a lot of products.
Yeah, if you have a lot of products, then
And if you have a lot of orders, yeah. But
That's
if you
what-
have a lot of orders, you can pay
Yeah, you
for
can
it.
pay for it.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing of it. This has integration with Shopify.
Mhm.
So you can take Shopify, make those logs, make those orders, and use GraphCMS to only show the products, for example.
Mhm.
And then the free version is enough because for orders you just check Shopify, and in GraphCMS you just grab what you need.
Mhm.
That way you can still use the free version, have all the orders, and
And this one, this what Edmundas opened, I see there's a stack mentioned, and it's Next.js, Tailwind, CSS.
Yeah, I think they're actually like helping you to
Yeah, they
yes,
provide a
template content.
template. Yeah.
yes, they do
That's really
provide
nice.
a template. Yeah, you can get it, and actually GraphCMS has their own like packages that you can use.
Mhm.
So that's also something to look into, since it's very nice to have and it's very easy to set up. Like I'm telling you, like this project that they
Yeah.
did, like
Yeah.
just to show those with all the initial setups, with the graph setup, with the Next.js setup, with the components, with Material UI setup, it took me an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
A year ago, I played with another tool, which is
Mm.
something similar to it,
yeah,
Hasura, but it's not like headless CMS. It's there you create a Postgres tables in the UI, and it generates GraphQL queries, mutations, subscriptions based on those tables,
Mhm.
and but you can add custom business logic there. You
Yeah.
can calculate new fields based on other fields, integrate other APIs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different business case. I think we can cover Hasura next podcast.
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
something we should really take a look at.
Compare those two.
But for example, I see that in Hasura, for example, the free version has 1 gigabyte of data
Mhm.
only to pass through. GraphCMS in the free plan has 100.
Yeah.
So, and even if you pay like, I see that Hasura actually has like a $100 a month if you want to like upgrade to their standard plan,
Mhm.
and that actually only allows 20 gigabytes a
Mhm.
month of
Okay.
data pass
Yeah.
through.
I see.
So it still like limits you to a specific environment. So I think for personal projects or even small business projects, I think GraphCMS will still be the way to do so.
Yeah, the one issue that I see is just it's so easy to start with and it's so easy to use that if you start a project with it, you just kind of get addicted to it, and then you will have no chance but to upgrade. So I think that's their secret plan. You
Yeah,
fall in love
yeah.
with the product, and then they collect the money.
Well, I mean, at that point, you have an API that you made in like an hour.
Yeah, so it's probably gonna be still cheaper to pay them than to actually hire a team
a
of backend
backend
developers.
developers to do that for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's exciting. That's really cool. I'm gonna be using that throughout everything in my personal projects.
Yeah, me too. Like I like already started.
Yeah. Okay. I see we have actually a question. What do you think about Vite? Haven't we actually talked about
talked
that?
about it, yeah.
I think
But
last
we
time.
didn't. I think we didn't say what we think about it.
I don't really remember.
It's the building tool,
Ah.
the fast one,
It's that one.
which loads the ESM modules.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really great. I think
So that's what we think. It's really
Um,
great.
it's an interesting approach for it, and I think I want to try it on React projects, for example, but I didn't have time yet.
Hmm.
But as I read and watched the YouTube videos, how that works, it's really nice, and I think it has a future.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, looking into it, but doesn't it use like Babel syntax? Like the entire compiler?
You wanna share screen?
No,
No.
because like looking into it, yeah, it just transpiles into Babel, so it's not like I'm not sure how they increase the performance. Let's look into how they increase the performance actually.
It compiles, I think, with the Go, and it doesn't bundle in the development. The thing is that Vite is increasing performance of compiling in the development.
Oh, okay. So you do like production builds. That's the same thing as other compilers, huh?
Yeah, something like that. It uses the something other too for the production builds, but it's basically an amazing thing for the development.
Okay.
Yeah,
So basically, it's just a faster development
yeah.
compiler. Okay, I see your point. Well, it's nice to have then. Then I guess it solves the problem where React builds for like forever.
Yeah, but Next has a new compiler.
Yeah, Next has a completely new compiler that uses Rust. So
Yeah,
let's just use that then.
actually, I tried to run your project on my machine, and I just couldn't even react to React. Yeah, how fast it actually ran. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Like looking into it, like
it's a good time for new compilers and for good
Yeah,
performance.
yeah, it's right now a good time for new frameworks as
And
well.
I think Vite is written in Go or Rust. I don't remember that. But
Okay.
in the development, it doesn't check the TypeScript errors because the argument is that in the VS Code, you already have the type checker.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay, I see your point. With a new.
I think it's
Oh,
definitely worth a try. But yeah.
yeah, but for example, I can see that there's Astro, a completely new, still in beta compiler that uses Vite.
What?
Yeah,
Is this for React specifically?
it's just a compiler that you can use anywhere, but it like uses Vite as well as WASM, WebAssembly.
Okay.
So I guess that's the next step.
Yeah.
No.
That's the step.
That's a bit too much for me now. Yeah, I think let's just focus to stay stable things for now.
Step by step.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's take baby steps. Okay. We got carried away a little bit,
As always.
as always. But I think Timas has found a really nice article. Again,
Yeah.
can't see Dodds.
We talked about his new site in the previous podcast. It was not yet released,
Now it is.
and like a week later, it was released. And he wrote about his new website, this amazing article, how he built it with the whole stack, all the libraries, and
Mm-hmm.
what he uses to test, what databases, what frameworks, and what he uses for styling, the deployment pipeline, GitHub Actions. Yeah, it's really great and very
Well,
detailed.
that's a huge article actually.
Yeah, it's huge article, and you can learn a lot from it.
What's that graph? Go back a little.
That?
I think it's the deployment.
Oh shit. That's actually kind of complex.
So you go to the local repo, you go to the GitHub repo,
Yeah, well, that's standard.
GitHub Actions send information to Discord.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So basically,
it's
it's just
actually-
like Slack hooks.
Yeah, it's the same.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's like a cool graph. This is actually readable. When was the last time you saw like a flow graph that was actually readable?
No, I really like his approach and like his attitude. He really tries to help and to explain how he's achieving these things, so that we can try to do as well.
And also, it's not about this article, but about his website.
Yeah.
He has a call Kent podcast, so you can register on his website. Go to that call Kent, record your question, and when he answers, it gets published with your question and his answer.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
Like I think during this podcast we do more for his career than ours. Like this is the second podcast we spent like 10 minutes talking about it.
Okay, okay. Let's just stop. But yeah, thanks, Kent. Okay, we're
He
gonna
does a
stop.
lot for us too.
Yeah, that's true. He does.
That's right. Okay, so next up, just a quick new. We have new version of Safari. We have a new version of macOS, Monterey or however it's called, and basically we have Safari 15. So we have web extensions. Okay, interesting. We have some new updates to HTML. So theme color, I think it was already there.
Yeah,
I want to say
think
that it was already there.
Like it worked, but I'm not sure. But if they added support, that's cool.
Ma-
I was already doing that.
Maybe
So.
maybe they reinvented it, as always, like Apple does. Okay, so we have
Revolution.
we have a couple of updates on CSS. So basically, aspect ratio. We have some new color syntaxes. I'm not gonna be really using it.
Nope.
Uh, we have a couple of new values for CSS. So I think the most interesting thing is actually the updated web inspector. Because inspecting websites on Safari can be actually a pain a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, Chrome Web Inspector, in my opinion, is much better and much more intuitive to actually use. I mean, on Safari, it takes me a long to see like network requests at least,
Yeah, that's true.
and I really hope that they improve the Web Inspector on Safari because we do need to actually test it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, like, what would be your perfect browser if you like took features from other different browsers and just made it into one?
I think the base would be a lot of just heavily Chrome inspired, but replay how
Replay, yeah.
yeah
I wanted to say just
yeah
replay.
so that one it has really cool features, but I'm not sure I wouldn't like I would like to use only that because yeah, I mean still Chrome is like one of the most used browsers, and I just can't force myself to use Safari. I don't know how about
Yeah.
you.
Me too.
I can't force myself as well. Like, I would like a browser that has like the whole inspect and console as Chrome,
Mm-hmm.
the network tab as Firefox,
Mm-hmm.
and the usability of Safari, like how many people actually use it and have it by default. So that would be the best browser because then we would have the inspector, the network, and all the issues with the cross-browser compatibility would be gone at that point.
Yeah, that's right. Well, one can dream.
One can dream.
I think. Okay, so next, we have one more thing. We have actually covered the Svelte success
Yeah.
in StackOverflow, and right now I see this thing the first. It's a first time for me. I haven't even seen this in the list. Timas, when have you added it?
I had this yesterday, I think so, in the evening. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll have to talk about
I
it.
found it, and it's a first Node.js automation library. So
Mm-hmm.
you can code it to, so you click on some desktop things.
Mm-hmm.
You can click it on in browser, your apps. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
some VS Code, the terminal. You can write it in terminal, and
Docs.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really early stage. I looked at the docs, and it has not that many methods.
Okay.
So, but I think it's a great start, and we can keep checking it.
Wait,
And
does it actually automate the mouse here?
Yes, it
Yes,
automates
yes.
the mouse. That's what I was trying to show you.
I mean, it took me a while to actually understand it.
Yes, that's what it's about. But I would want that it could read a bigger image of specific place, for example,
Uh huh.
Yeah.
so you can determine what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for now I see it can read a pixel where the mouse is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think it's a great start. and
Interesting.
it will be maybe someone will do a wrapper on top of that.
Mm.
But yeah, we can automate some of
That's cool.
things that we can't automate in the browser, for example.
I wonder how it works.
I wonder if we can actually use it in the browser and
No, no, no. We really shouldn't be able to do that. It's
Yeah,
too
like-
much power. But I mean, even in Node.js, I didn't know that we actually had control of users' mouse and keyboard
I think
throughout the whole system.
There's a wrapper bridge communicating with the C++, Rust, or something like
Uh-huh.
these languages.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's how it works.
And you'll definitely need to enable accessibility options, I think, to actually allow it to control your
Yeah.
screen. So yeah, so basically we can create computer viruses with Node.js.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the only thing in my mind right now. Like you can like hack computers with this. If it works in a browser, you can just make phishing websites. That
No,
just
it doesn't
take
work
control
in the
of your
browser.
mouse.
You need to compile it.
No,
with
no,
the
but you can open a browser with with the mouse.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and knowing how like free-handedly people install node dependencies, you
Yeah.
just go npm install anything like.
Yeah, and it just goes. Yeah, like this is cool.
But
It works
you
nicely.
need to build with the Electron. So yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's a little bit concerning. I think
Yeah.
maybe we're giving Node.js too much power here.
Do you remember when JavaScript just began and like cross-site scripting wasn't an issue and no one was aware that you can write into like message boards JavaScript code that just goes into your browser?
Uh,
I'm thinking if this won't be like the same thing.
Yeah.
I have already seen like people recreating virtual machines to host old versions of Windows in browser, and I think that's just an overkill.
Yeah, I see it. I opened the GitHub of this
Uh-huh.
library. It's written in C.
It's written in C.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay, then yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. I'm not sure if I'll be able to use it, but it's good to know that I can. Okay, I think that's it. That's the end of our list.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone who listened.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
We will be uploading everything that we talked about in YouTube and maybe in Twitch if I figure out how to do it.
We'll figure it out eventually. Like
Yeah, and the whole list with the things we talked about will also be there. So you'll just be welcome to see everything chapter by chapter.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks and see you in 2 weeks, probably.
see you everyone in 2
See you.
weeks.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully.